What is wrong with this? Hello. Oh, hello. I believe we are live. Hello, welcome to the monthly pop culture chat live stream on the channel. This is a relatively new thing. I've only done one before, where every month on the first... Wait, what day is it? Is it Tuesday? No, it's Thursday, isn't it? On the first Thursday of every month, I'm going to be doing a live stream, picking a random pop culture topic, and we'll just chat about it for an hour or so. Today, we're talking about kids' television. Kids' television of our own childhoods, not only mine, but yours as well. I want to hear, you might be different ages to me. I want to hear what you watched when you were kids. What did you watch when you were 5 years old? What did you watch when you were 8 years old? What did you watch when you were 12 years old? How did your interest change in that time? I'm going to be talking about some of the things I used to watch, but I do want to talk about what you used to watch as well. So do let me know in the chat the things you used to watch, and we can talk about those as well. Got a few people in the chat already. Hello. Emma Hughes said hi. I know that was there when I started. I don't know how long ago Emma left that, or if Emma's still here, but if you are, hi. Joseph Adam said, hi Philip, I got Doctor Who season 12 and 19 on Blu-ray. Excellent. And I enjoyed it so far. Then on Saturday I get season 19. Cool, excellent. Have you got the new slimmer box sets? Are they the ones that have just come out, the reissued ones, or did you find the holy grail of the old limited edition packaging? Let me know. GSAM 2021 says yo back at ya, and Tuxified Art says hi Phil. Welcome everybody in the chat. As I said, we're going to talk about kids television, and I've got some, I don't know if you call them treats. I've been rummaging in my loft this afternoon and finding old photos, because I had a memory of some old photos that I wanted to find from my own childhood of talking about of me demonstrating my love of certain TV shows through things on my wall, toys that I had that I happened to be playing with in these photos, that kind of thing. And I went for a rummage. I didn't find all the ones that I wanted to. There was a Sonic the Hedgehog photo that I wanted to find that I couldn't find anywhere, but I found some other ones. So you'll be able, at some point in the stream, you'll be seeing me at various ages, sort of around about 3, there's definitely one from my 6th birthday party, so you'll get to see that as well. So that's a treat. I don't know if a treat's the right word, but that's all coming up as well. We're going to be talking some of the TV shows we can talk about, because they're ones I used to like. Things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Hero Turtles as they were called here in the UK. What else is there? Thomas the Tank Engine. You'll have seen some things in the thumbnail. Those things. We'll also get into things that actually were a bit past my era as kids, but of course I have to talk about, because I still watched some kids stuff. I still watch some kids stuff now. Well, I mean, I have kids now, so obviously I watch some kids stuff. But things like the Sarah Jane Adventures, obviously as a Doctor Who fan, when that came on in the mid 2000s, even though by that point I was already an adult and it was a kids show, obviously I had to watch it. So I watched that too. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Looking over at the chat, what have we got? Somebody's mentioned Count Duckula. Joseph Adam is watching Count Duckula in the year 2000. Good year. Count Duckula, did they redo it in 2000? Or were you watching the repeats of the older ones? Because I used to watch Count Duckula in the early 90s. And in fact, there's a photo of me, little me, coming up later on with a Count Duckula related item. So I will get to that soon as well. I used to watch Bob, says Gary Hedger. What's Bob? What is Bob? Oh, as in Bob the Builder? Is that Bob the Builder you mean? Yes, my Bob the Builder first came around when my little sister, who is 10 years younger than me, was around about the right age for it. So that first iteration of Bob the Builder, I kind of second-hand saw some of through her. Not on topic, but Majan, is that how you pronounce your name? Yophil Tectayun is Doctor Will 100% Happen. That's referring to my Doctor Who theory video that I released a month or so ago about, I think possibly Tech Tayun is the Doctor and not the Timeless Child. Go check that out if you are interested. Lewis Frisbee says hello, Phil. Tuxified Art, my interests haven't changed, or more so, they did change, but my current interests are slowly going back to those I had when I was about 10 because of nostalgia, plus a bunch of other interesting media. Yeah, I'm finding that a little bit too. Nostalgia is a powerful draw when it comes to children's television. When it comes to anything really, but especially children's television. I found that especially with one topic we'll talk about later, Power Rangers. Watched it as a kid, fell out of it a little bit for a few years, and then when I was at uni, I kind of came back to it a little bit and was like, especially as the season that was on while I was at uni was very nostalgic back to the ones I used to watch as a kid. So that kind of dragged me back in, only for a season, but I kind of kept, as you can tell, I kind of kept passing interest in it, in Power Rangers. That's why I've got the helmet out there. What else have we got in the chat? This stream is perfect time to remind people of Russell T Davies' practically unknown second children's series, Wizards vs. Aliens, he made after Sarah Jane Adventures ended. Yes, I forgot about that because I did watch that. As I said, I was already past the target age for Sarah Jane Adventures. But then after that ended and after the sad passing of Liz Sladen, Russell T Davies, of course, went on to make Wizards vs. Aliens. And I watched the first series of that. I didn't watch the second series. But yes, another very good series. I think Russell T Davies is good at making those children's series that they've got the emotional depth in them to appeal to adults as well. So that was quite cool. Ryan Talbot, Nightmare Rules. Is this a Nightmare from the early 90s where the kids, it was like a game show, the kids had to wear these helmets and it was kind of billed as virtual reality, but it wasn't really. They were being effectively blindfolded and guided around a virtual environment. That Nightmare, because I used to love that too. Lewis Frisbee used to watch the Sarah Jane Adventures, Joseph Adam, Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars. Sailor Mars, was that a spin-off from Sailor Moon? I'd heard of Sailor Moon. Again, it was one of those ones my younger sister used to watch. Never heard of Sailor Mars. Gary Hedger, Bob was about a boy who was helping the people out. I'm not familiar with Bob. Not Bob the Builder then. Tuxified Art, Duckula was 1988. Yes, it must have been. I think, yeah, that would track with the age of me in the photo, I guess, of being sort of very early 90s and late 80s even. Never got a reboot, but Danger Mouse got a reboot, and Duckula was a spin-off of Danger Mouse, so I think Duckula should get a reboot. Jordan Howell, sorry I'm late, you haven't missed much. We're just going through the chat at the moment, but we are talking about children's television. So Jordan, let us know what you watched when you were a kid. 20th anniversary Power Rangers series. Are you asking which one was nostalgic? The one, you know what? I will get to Power Rangers. We'll save that for later. Muppet Show is on Disney Plus. Yes, it is. I used to watch Sarah Jane Adventures, says Emma. Emma is still here. Excellent. Yeah. Love Nightmare, says Ryan. I managed to get some bootleg DVDs of all the series. Nice. I haven't seen it since it was on originally, I don't think. Excellent. Well, I think I'm all caught up on the chat. Right. Some great things there. Keep letting me know what you used to watch as a kid and we'll talk about some of them. But let's talk about... My microphone is right in the way of where I need to talk about some of my things. I'm going to kind of roughly go through the shows I used to like in chronological order in terms of the ages I was when I watched them. One of the earliest things I was really into was Thomas the Tank Engine. Yes. Oh no, I've gone straight to the pictures. I didn't mean to go to the pictures. I'm giving you a sneak peek. Okay, look, let's go to the pictures. This is my evidence of my Thomas obsession when I was younger. As you can see, the one just above my head on the screen is the younger me. I think I must have been maybe 2, maybe 3 in that photo. And I'm doing a Thomas the Tank Engine colouring book there. So, and I think I'm wearing a Thomas the Tank Engine t-shirt as well. And At that time, I would have had the wallpaper that you can see in the other picture, which is me when I'm slightly older. I think I'm about 6 there, but I obviously hadn't changed the wallpaper in my bedroom by that point. And that's in there. I don't think I was that much into Thomas at that point, but I was stuck with the wallpaper. That's just there to show you that I had that wallpaper. That was my wallpaper. It's a bit domineering, isn't it? That wallpaper. It's a bit. Ooh. But yeah, I was quite into Thomas Tank Engine, and I think that influence is mainly from my dad because he's a massive train person. He loves trains. He used to work for British Rail, and he's always been heavily into his trains. So I have a sneaking suspicion that he may have steered me towards Thomas Tank Engine for that reason. But yeah, I love Thomas Tank Engine. I had as you can see, the wallpaper. I had bed covers originally when I was about 3 or 4. I had coloring books. I had toys, little model trains, and lots of other stuff. And I remember going to see like one of those, or one of these classic train places, might be New York or somewhere. They had a full life size Thomas the Tank Engine. It was very exciting. This is what's going on there in the background? What's happening there? There we go. That is, of course, Thomas the Tank Engine. But if we hold on, take that away. Wait, get it. There we go. That's the original opening for Thomas the Tank Engine that I remember from when I was young, and it was narrated at the time I was watching it by none other than Ringo Starr of the Beatles, and that was the opening. Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, later renamed Thomas and Friends. I think they've got a new series out, which is all CGI. This was kind of stop motion model worky type stuff. But yeah, the Thomas the Tank Engine was a big thing of my early childhood, sort of when I was about 3 or 4. So what kind of things were you watching? Can you remember that young? Can you remember what you were watching when you were 3 or 4? It's a long time ago. It's hard to remember. I think possibly the only reason I remember it so vividly, this one, I can't remember anything else I was watching around that time, but because this is quite heavily in tied with my memories doing stuff with my dad and stuff, because he was quite into trains as well, and obviously it was all over my walls with the very now quite dated wallpaper. So that's the first one that I remember. It would have been the late 80s, early 90s. What else we got on the chat? Lots of people, very active chat tonight, so thank you very much. Stylish One says Sooty is a classic, both the original and Sooty and Co. from the 90s. Yes, I loved Sooty. I loved the episodes where Sweep got to be a superhero. That was always good. They were good. I saw Sooty live not that long, well, a few years ago now, a couple of years ago now, but I took my daughter to see a Sooty live show. So Sooty is still going. I don't know if they've got a TV show at the moment, but they're still doing live stuff. And it was quite fun. I enjoyed it. This is the new person. It was Matthew Corbett when I was watching it on telly, but now it's somebody else that's taken over as the human person. I loved Sooty. It was great series. GS Gassam. I don't know is that GSAM Gassam 2021. When I was really young, I watched Number Time. I had it on video. Then when I was slightly older, I watched CBBC. I liked Spartacle Mystery. Number Time sounds like something that nowadays would be on, or it might have been when you were younger. It sounds like a CBeebies thing. A CBeebies wasn't around when I was little. The CBBC channel wasn't around when I was little. We had 2 hours a day of children's television, which was the CBBC slot on BBC One, just before Neighbours was on, because Neighbours used to be on BBC as well. And yeah, that was kind of all we got for children's television. A little bit more the weekend. Got a bit of Saturday morning cartoons as well. But it was mostly after school for 2 hours on a weekday. That's what you got for children's television. Had to rely on our own VHSs. But yeah, that sounds like something that would be on, like, now my daughters and we put it on for my son. Occasionally watches the thing called Number Blocks, which I'm guessing a similar sort of thing, roughly teaching maths with sort of cartoons, I guess, something like that. Tuxified Art says, I watched Sarah Jane before I even knew what Doctor Who was. It was my first exposure to the franchise, bar a vague memory of the Crimbo specials and the Dalek movies on repeat. Yeah, the Dalek movies were my first, possibly, again, very vague memories, but it was either the Dalek movies or some Pertwee era stuff on repeat that I vaguely remember watching first as my Doctor Who experience. What was I going to say? Sarah Jane. I was listening to Adam Martin's podcast, AMTV Radio, earlier on today, and the guest he has on there, Joe Brennan, I think his name is, was talking about how he was introduced to Doctor Who through Sarah Jane as well. So if you're looking for somebody who is the same, got into it the same way as you, go listen to that podcast. Adam, of course, is my co-host on the Red Dwarf podcast I do. Everybody is Dead Dave. Super Ted. Jordan remembers Super Ted. Used to watch it as a kid on DVD. I loved Super Ted. I had a Super Ted. Some of these things that I haven't prepared for, I don't have images, but I can show you my desktop. So let me find an image of Super Ted in case anybody doesn't know who he is. Super Ted. Come on, Super Ted. Where are you? Super Ted was great. It was a teddy bear, a defective teddy bear from a factory who was discarded because he was defective, but saved by this weird alien called Spot, and turned into a superhero and turned into a Super Ted. It was great. I loved it. I had a Super Ted toy. Brilliant cartoon. You're making me remember a load of cartoons that I completely forgotten and wasn't going to talk about because I'd just forgotten them. But this would probably be something I was watching around about the same time as I was watching Thomas the Tank Engine. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah, Google. And then I'll find you a picture of Super Ted. Super Ted. Here we go. Super Ted. Come on. There we go. So you should now hopefully be seeing my desktop and Super Ted. This is Super Ted. He flies, he has a cool red costume and a cape, and that's his friend Spot next to him in that middle one. Very strange looking spotty alien. So that is Super Ted and was great. Loved Super Ted. Joseph Adam Martin got all Jerry Anderson's show. Adam Martin got all Jerry Anderson's show Expected Space 1999 on DVD. He's got all Jerry Anderson shows. Yes, possibly. I can't remember if I watched his DVD collection. Yes, possibly he might do. It might be why he commented in our last podcast episode about the model work in Red Dwarf looking very much like Jerry Anderson work, and I think somebody that worked on Red Dwarf did work on Jerry Anderson, so that makes sense. Abigail adores Sooty 2. Lewis Frisbee. One day I'll work out how to get these comments up on here. I'm still getting to grips with Streamlabs OBS, so I will learn how to get these up on screen at some point. But for now, I'm just going to have to read them out. You'll have to read them in the chat section. Abigail adored Sooty. Lewis Frisbee. My Power Rangers nostalgia is Power Rangers Samurai. I also, when I was little, watched Fireman Sam. God, I love Fireman Sam. And Bob the Builder. Thomas the Tank Engine. Obviously, Thomas the Tank Engine is one of those ones that just comes around for every generation, doesn't it? And Doctor Who and Sarah Jane Adventures. Tuxified Art. Joseph Adam. Good for Adam. What else we got? Somebody's watching. Joseph Adams watching Thomas on YouTube. Nice. Jordan Howe. I remember the reboot of Biker Mice from Mars that was on CITV. Did they reboot it? Did they do it twice? I remember it in the 90s. Biker Mice from Mars. What a concept. What a concept. It's all in the name, isn't it? Just like mice that are from Mars, that are huge and that are bikers. Brilliant. Talking of CITV, anybody watching that was might still be a rivalry. I don't know. Did you watch CITV or did you watch CBBC? What was it for you? Mostly mine was CBBC. I wasn't massively into CITV. Did watch it occasionally, but not very often. Stylish one, is it me or do the windmill wings in that Thomas photo look like they'd fall off if you so much as breathed on them? I don't know. Is it you? Let's have a look. Yeah, they look like they might fall off. I mean, this is a very small model of a windmill, so in real life. So, yeah, probably. Right. Let's get to the next thing I was going to talk about. So, we've done Thomas. What was next? Let me see. After Thomas. So, oh no, skipping ahead to Sarah Jane there. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This was a good one. I can't remember when I got into He-Man, but I do know I inherited a load of He-Man toys from my cousin who had almost the whole set. I mean, he had everything. He had Castle Grayskull. He had tons of the figures. I think I had probably every figure on that picture there I had in action form. Apart from Orko, the flying thing up the top there. I didn't have him. But I had Man-at-Arms, I had He-Man, I had Skeletor, I had, what's her name? I can't remember her name. And I think I had the Sorceress and the other two bad guys. I can't remember their names either. But I think I had most of them. And then I had Battle Cat, and there was a dinosaur bones thing as well I had, and Castle Grayskull, all of which I just inherited from my cousin. So that was very nice of him to give me those. Love He-Man. It was great. I don't know if it would hold up now. I haven't rewatched it. But they have remade it. In around about 2000, they remade He-Man as a new series, and they're just about to release 2 new He-Man series now. So I might have to check, especially one of them. One of them is a sequel series to that original 1980s series. So I might have to watch that. Of course, anybody that was around in the early 90s will remember that there was already a sequel series to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which was called The New Adventures of He-Man. And it had He-Man in space, basically. It had He-Man flying around in a spaceship, which, I don't know. I remember not liking it at the time. And I didn't really get on with it. But let's see if I can find a picture. Here we go. The New Adventures of He-Man. So there we go. That's what the New Adventures of He-Man. He's lost the barbarian look. He's now got a spaceship and he's flying around space. It's much more tech sort of thing. So who knows whether or not this brand new sequel series will ignore that or pick up after that. I have a feeling it will ignore that. So who knows? There is a picture. I do have a picture. The one picture I could find of me with He-Man stuff is me unwrapping that stuff that I got from my cousin. I think when I say inherited it from my cousin, based on this photo, I think my cousin / aunt and uncle gave it to my mum, who then wrapped it up as a present for me for Christmas. Because this photo is me unwrapping Christmas presents, and there's Man-at-Arms there, just sitting there next to me. I assume I unwrapped him at the same time. Look at that. What amazing fashion sense I had in it. Look at, what is that jumper? Crazy. What was my mum dressing me in? I must have been somewhere between 4 and 6. I think I must have been more like 4 at that when that photo was taken. So that would have been 1989. Showing my age now. Right, what have we got in the chat? So, any thoughts on He-Man? Anybody else watch He-Man? Let me know. Are you going to be watching the sequel series on Netflix when it comes out? I never said. There's the new sequel series, which is being made by Kevin Smith, who is the filmmaker of like Clark's, Dogma, that guy, Jay and Silent Bob. He's making the follow-on series. But there is also at the same time a CGI series being made, which is a complete reboot and aimed at more younger kids. So I think the sequel series is very much aimed at people like me. It's aimed at adults that watched it when they were kids, and the CGI series is meant to be aimed at kids now. I think that's the way they're going with it. Let's catch up on the chat. Is it me or did... Oh no, we've done that one. Tuxfied Art says old VHS tapes of Disney movies when VHS had really started to die out. Of course, yeah, I suppose you would be, they were going cheap then, weren't they? I had a load of Disney movies on VHS. Loved a good Disney movie. First Disney movie I remember seeing in the cinema, I think, was The Rescuers Down Under. I also saw Beauty and the Beast at the cinema. And I had a few of them on VHS as well. Now, we've got all of them. Hold on. Back in a second. There we go. Because I bought my wife this for Christmas last year. So we now have every single Disney classic on DVD. No, this is Blu-ray. On DVD or Blu-ray? No, it's DVD. Oh, that's heavy. At some point, I might watch them all and do a ranking video of every single Disney film. We'll see. Thunderbirds in high definition is on BritBox. I loved Thunderbirds. I had lots of Thunderbird toys. At one point, there was a petrol station in the UK that was doing, might have been Shell Garage, or one of the other ones anyway. They were doing a thing where a loyalty thing where if you bought so much petrol, you got a little stamps, and if you collected a certain amount of stamps, you could send off those stamps for free Thunderbird stuff, free Thunderbird toys. So I got my parents, my grandparents, basically anybody I knew that would be willing to give me, to fill up at this place and give me their vouchers to do that. And then I got loads of Thunderbirds toys. So I think I had all the main Thunderbirds apart from the space station one, and a few little action figures as well. Loved Thunderbirds. I think I had a Thunderbirds on VHS as well. So yeah, I need to subscribe to BritBox soon, because Red Dwarf is going off of Netflix, which is currently where me and Adam watch it for our reviews on our podcast. And so I think they're on BritBox. So we're going to have to switch to BritBox. Jordan Howe, my first Thomas and Friends VHS was Thomas Goes Fishing and Other Stories. Cool. Joseph Adam, on season 12, there's half-hour documentary of Doctor Who video. Season 12, there is half-hour documentary of Doctor Who videos. A documentary about the Doctor Who VHSs, is that? That'd be cool. I do have the season 12. Is this the season 12 Doctor Who collection set? Because I've got that. I just haven't got around to watching it yet. CBBC and CBeebies were both made their own channel in 2002, Tuxfied Art says. Yes. By which point I was not interested in watching either of them, because by 2002 I was... Hold on, how old was I in 2002? 17? No, yeah, 17. No. Yes, 17. So, yeah, I wasn't interested in watching either by that point. The Stylish One, the first Peter Cushing Dalek movie, got me into Doctor Who too. Yes, they were good ones. They were good ones to get people in. Oh, what? Jordan Howe, this is brand new information. John Pertwee voiced the Spotty Man in Super Ted. I did not know that. I'm just going to go quickly verify that on IMDb. I'm not that I doubt you. I'm sure you are right, but got to double check my sources. I didn't know that. That's amazing if that's true, which I'm sure it is. Let's find the cast. Amazing. Here we go. Let's switch to... There we go. There he is. John Pertwee, Spotty. All 36 episodes, 1983 to 1986. That is amazing. Peter Hawkins was the narrator as well. Interesting. Peter Hawkins, wasn't he a voice of the Daleks at one point? I don't know who Derek Griffiths is, who played Super Ted. Amazing. Thanks for that information. That was brand new information. I did not know that. Fantastic. Joseph Adam is going to be watching Super Ted in 2018 with his girlfriend. Cool. I'm tempted to show my kids it, especially now I know it's got John Pertwee in it. Stylish One has a. You used to have a copy of a Super Ted episode, but it never had any sound on it. I never found out why. Oh, well, like a proper bought VHS or DVD with it on. Never had any sound. How strange. Did you still watch it? Like, just like it was a silent movie? G Sam 2021. It says I also remember Spot the Dog. Yes, Spot the Dog. Do I have that down here? Let me have a look, because my son and daughter were bought Spot the Dog books. I'm trying to look on their bookshelf. Are they? Hold on. I'll be back. I will find. I'm still here. I'm just kind of looking at the book. I knew I had one. Look, here we go. Spot's First Easter. We've got a few Spot the Dog books in this house for the kids. So yeah, Spot the Dog. Oh yeah, you remember Spot the Dog as well when the TV show. Remember the cartoon. Very good. Joseph Adam, first show was Fireman Sam in 1992. How old were you then, Joseph? Jordan Howe, my first ever kids TV show I watched was when I was 1 year old, was Teletubbies on CBBC. Do you remember that? Do you remember being 1 year old? Because I don't think I remember being one. Or do you just know because you've seen photos of you watching it, or your parents have told you watched it? Teletubbies was something that was around by the time my sister was born, and I remember it from there. And now it's had a resurgence, and my daughter watched it for a little while. She's too old for it. She's 6 now. But I'm sure my son will probably end up watching it at some point. He's only 1. The Stylish One, I always watch CBBC a lot more than CITV. Me too. Joseph Adam, I watched He-Man in Tunbridge when I was 13. Tape damaged. Jordan Howe, I watched both CBBC and ITV back as a kid. You watched Switzerland, neutral, no, not taking a side. Mid 2000s via their digital TV channels. Yes. So what's next in my journey of things? In a minute, we're going to. I put it out on Twitter as well what people watched. I got some tweets back, so we'll have a look at those as well in a minute. Another one I watched around about the same time I was watching He-Man was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I say Ninja Turtles because in the UK they were called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles for this series because, I don't know, UK Ofcom or whoever preceded Ofcom decided that ninja was a bit too violent for British kids. And I believe one of their weapons as well got edited so that it might have been the nunchucks got edited so they look like something different as well. And so they had to redo some stuff for the British audience because it was all deemed a bit too violent. But I loved it. It was great. Because it was deemed quite violent, also my parents said I couldn't have any toys from it, which devastated me as a kid because a load of my friends at school had them and they were so cool. They were the hot toy. And this show ran for quite a few years as well, the original Turtles. Absolutely brilliant series. I also, later on, when I was a little bit older and they'd somebody at some point, a relative bought me a foot soldier for Christmas. But I never really, it was a bit late by then and I'd never really got the rest of them. I did, however, at one point get the SNES game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, on the original, not the SNES, the original Nintendo, in fact. Not even the SNES. The original Nintendo Entertainment System. Which that image on the front, I've only found out more recently, is actually an image from one of the original comics, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, before it was ever a TV series, was a comic, and that is one of the original images from one of the covers of the comics, which is why they're all wearing red bandanas and not their individual coloured bandanas, because in the original comic they weren't colour coded. Each turtle didn't have their own colour, they all wore red, which is why they are on that one. It was also a very hard game that I could not get past like level 3 of, no matter how much I tried. Yeah, Turtles, that was a big one for me. I really liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so much so that I had, for my 6th birthday, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles birthday cake. There's me blowing out the candles and standing very proudly by my Leonardo turtle cake, and a very, very badly framed picture there that cuts off half of Leonardo's head. Poor Leonardo. So apparently they wouldn't let me have the toys, but they would let me have a birthday cake and obviously watch it. I don't know what that was about, to be honest. Maybe they didn't want me play acting the fighting or something. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Or maybe really that was just an excuse because the toys are expensive and they couldn't afford them. I don't know. One of those things anyway. So I was, around about the age 6, as it says. This is my 6th birthday party on the cake. I was quite into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Hero Turtles, I should say, as they were here in the UK. I only found out they were Ninja Turtles when the movies of the 90s came out. Let's get back to the chat. What's going on in the chat? A few more shows to talk about. I said I'll come back to Duckula. I'll be talking about Duckula again in a minute. What else is going on in the chat? Where did I get to? Lewis Frisbee. When I was younger, I watched Power Rangers Samurai, Thomas the Tank Engine, the Sarah Jane Adventures, Fireman Sam, Bob the Builder, Star Wars, Clone Wars. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Obviously Doctor Who, this thing called Tommy Zoom. Never heard of Tommy Zoom. Zoe Ball is unmasked from Masked Dancer just now. I don't watch Masked Dancer. Is it any good? Is that a spin-off of Masked Singer? Number Time used to be on BBC Two, says GSAM 2021. Chuggington and Sooty. Sooty is, as I said, is multi-generational now. Chuggington is something I've seen via my daughter. Joseph Adam, have you heard Galaxy 4 is next animated? I haven't. Is that official? Have they announced that, or is that rumour? He-Man is on Virgin Media on demand, says Jordan Howell. Ooh, that's interesting. I've got Virgin Media. Maybe I have to check that out. Joseph Adam, Toy Story was the first film I saw, and then Frozen 2. Going back to the Disney discussion we had earlier. Cool. Yeah. Frozen 2 is a... Wait. The first film you saw was Toy Story, and then the next film you saw was Frozen 2? Because they are quite far apart in terms of releases. The original Toy Story, what was that? Mid-90s? 96? Something like that, I'm guessing. Frozen 2 was a couple of years ago. So if you didn't watch any films between then, that's a long time to go between films. Jordan Howe, that box set is so expensive. Yes, it is. It is very expensive, and that's why it's the DVD one and not the Blu-ray one, because the Blu-ray one I couldn't quite afford. But yeah, that was my wife's Christmas present. Lewis Frisbee, I also watched Thunderbirds. Nice one. The love of the Thunderbirds on here. There was a Thunderbirds episode that had a few 60s Dalek comics in the background of one scene. Was there? I need to make a note of that and try and find out. What was the episode? If you know what the episode was called, let me know. I'm going to write that down because there has to be a... Maybe there's a video in that. I would like to see that. I'll look it up. Thunderbirds Dalek comics in background. I'm writing it down. Oh, look at the time. It's 9:10 already. I'm aiming to go for about an hour, so till about 9:30. Where did I get to? Joseph Adam watching Thunderbirds are Go and Thunderbirds 2086. What's Thunderbirds? I've heard of Thunderbirds are Go. What's Thunderbirds 2086? Is that a new one? Is that something that I've not heard of that? That sounds interesting. Yeah, 2086. I'll have to look that up. Tuxified Art. BritBox is really cool. It has literally everything from BBC and ITV archives before about 2003. A lot of Channel 4 stuff, some Channel 5 stuff, but who cares? Yeah, Channel 5. Not the best in the original content factor, is it? Classic TV fans paradise. Yeah, I did subscribe briefly because to watch the Dalek movies, actually. There was a watch along with some people on Twitter of one of the Dalek movies, so I subscribed for that, and then I just found that I didn't have time to watch anything else. I had too much other stuff to watch, so I unsubscribed after a couple of months of not watching it. John Pertwee also played Sooty in the Super Ted stage show. Saw it in Cardiff Theatre Royal. I did not know there was a stage show. Brilliant. Was he in the costume? Or was he just voicing it and somebody else was in the costume? Brilliant. Super Ted is getting a reboot in 2023. Nice. Another one. See, it's all nostalgia now, isn't it? Everything's coming around again. What they're relying on, I think, is people like me who now have kids. They're releasing all the stuff redoing all the stuff we used to watch as kids, so that we put our kids in front of it and go, "This is great. Watch this." And that's what they're relying on with this nostalgia. Joseph Adam, I wish the Magic Roundabout, all the episodes in Blu-ray in near future. You wish that would come out. Yeah, the Magic Roundabout was something that I have watched on repeat, I presume, because I think it was before my time. I think my dad, maybe even have been like, my dad introduced me to it, so maybe it was something from his time, or I don't know. I have a vague memory of him being quite enthusiastic about it. Stylish One says, I did watch the Super Ted episode as a kid thinking it was meant to be silent. Yes, it's going back to your one that didn't have any sound on. What's stranger is the only other shows on the same DVD all had sound. I vaguely recall watching the episode with the sound only once. How odd that you'd play everything else on that DVD apart from that. Very strange. Jordan Howell used to watch the 2003 series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid. It was darker than the original series. Yes, and I really liked it. That was on when I was at uni, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I dipped in and out of it, and I really liked what I saw and kind of thought, I'll get around to watching this at some point, and then I never did. But it did look really interesting. It looked like it had narrative arcs and continuing serialized storytelling, and it looked really good. The nunchucks, that was it. Tuxified Art has confirmed the nunchucks were edited out in the American show as well. Oh, okay. But it took a few series compared to the American one, which it did it originally. Didn't realise that. Have you been watching Nebula 75? No. I don't know what Nebula 75 is. Do enlighten me. At least you didn't buy real turtles, which some did during the first Hero Turtles craze. Oh yeah, heard about that. A lot of people really wanted turtles, and then they just got bored of them really quickly and started flushing them down the toilet. Not good. Don't do that, people. Yeah, a lot of love for the Ninja Turtles. Joseph Adam likes Megan Fox from the Ninja Turtles movies. Yeah, I've watched those Ninja Turtle movies. Recently, I watched the second one. They're not great. They're not good. They're not good. Mind you, they're probably better than the third original one. I don't know. They're, yeah, not great. Where are we? Let's do some of the tweets that I got, because I put this out and said, hey, what did everybody else watch? And as well as you lovely people in the chat, I was going to get some things off, but let's see what some other people have said. Deborah tweeted that she used to like watching, when she was 5 or 6, used to watch something called Wiggle Park, but no one else seems to remember it. Does anybody remember Wiggle Park? I looked up what it looked like, and there was a worm creature with a scarf, and that vaguely looked familiar, but I can't remember anything more details about it. Oh, that's Jodie Wood tweeted, Maid Marian and her Merry Men. Yes, I watched this. This was a very fun take on the Robin Hood story, where Maid Marian was actually the leader of the Merry Men. That was good. I love that. Round the Twist. Loved Round the Twist. Round the Twist was a live action Australian quirky, very weird series with a very catchy theme tune. And because I knew this week was coming up, I am going to play that theme tune because I have it loaded ready. Hopefully this doesn't get me in any copyright trouble because it's just such a catchy theme tune. It will stay in your head. So I'm going to play it. Okay. That was yeah, Round the Twist, the theme tune. What a theme tune. I absolutely love that. It's so catchy and it's stuck in my head. For it, like I can probably recite all the lyrics now. It's just brilliant. And such a good series. There would be these really just like bizarre things happening to this group of kids at a lighthouse in Australia. There would be episodes with mermaids in, episodes where they'd find a cloning machine, all sorts of really weird things. Episodes with like these giant weird mushrooms that were growing everywhere. It's very strange but brilliant. So that's what else is Jodie said here. Alfonso Bonzo, not heard of that one. Johnny Briggs, no, doesn't ring a bell. Simon and the Witch, Bad Boys, Round the Bend, Dark Season, Century Falls, Agent Z and the Penguins from Mars. That sounds like an interesting one. The Queen's Nose, I do remember The Queen's Nose. That was about a girl who found a magic 50p coin, and if you rubbed it, I think you could make a wish. That was very good. So a lot of good suggestions there. Oh, what am I doing? What's the next? Stop that. There we go. Next one. What's next on the tweets? Ryan McGibbon. One of his favorite shows when he was young was BBC's Aquila, about a couple of kids who find an ancient alien ship in the countryside, and it sadly ended on a cliffhanger. I think I remember this one. They found this ship which had been buried since Roman times, and hijinks ensue. They try, I think, get cloaks, and the one memory I have of the show, like clear image, is the cloaked ship hovering just next to the roof of a building and then getting off of it onto the roof of the building. It's literally randomly this one image I have of the show in my head. But yeah, I remember that one. Georgia Cook says, when they were 12, absolutely loved a show called Shoebox Zoo. I can barely find anyone else who remembers it. Does anybody remember Shoebox Zoo? Anybody help Georgia out there? I don't remember that one. That and the game show Raven. 12-year-old me had a vibe, she said. Yes. I looked up Shoebox Zoo and I did not recognize the image. But I did reply to her tweet with the picture, so go and have a look for that as well if you want. This person mentions one that I do remember, that a few, I think. So Millie McKenzie said, I don't remember specific ages, but I loved Fraggle Rock. Brilliant. Another great theme tune. I don't have this one lined up, but what a theme tune to this. Down a Fraggle Rock. Anyway, I'm not going to sing the whole thing. The Muppet Show, related to Fraggle. Fraggle Rock was made by the Jim Henderson Company, as well as the Muppet Show. Captain Planet, the eco warrior superhero, blue skin, gave a bunch of teenagers special powers. One had the power of wind, earth, fire, and then there was the guy left with heart, which everyone felt like, what's heart? What power is heart? That was good too. Really enjoyed. Well, I say it was good. I remember liking it as a kid. If I watched it now, I'd probably be thinking it's cringy, cheesy rubbish. But I think there's a possibility there. They could reboot that in a very clever, nostalgic, very meta way, I think. Maybe they should do that. Ninja Turtles, yeah. I think Millie must be around my age because there's a lot of stuff I remember here. Teddy Ruxpin, yeah. Snorks, Danger Mouse. I loved Danger Mouse, voiced by David Jason. Brilliant. Ren and Snimpy, yeah, that might have been a teenager. Yeah, same. So I think Millie must be around about my age there, similar age as me. What else we got? Doctor Who Home tweeted that loved watching repeats of Rainbow, and again another fan of Fraggle Rock. Fraggle Rock is always a good one. Thomas Tank Engine, Bob the Builder, and Postman Pat. Otherwise, yeah, Rainbow was a good one. I used to watch Rainbow when I was really little, with Zippy, Bungle, and George. That was it. Zippy, Bungle, and George. Very good. Anyone else on the tweets? One more tweet. Here we go. Jamie Bevan said, my parents are aliens. Vaguely remember that one. Sooty and Co. We've already talked about. Kaching. Don't remember that. Dick and Dom. I think Dick and Dom was a bit past my time, but I do know who they are. Bamzuki. The Queen's Nose. We've mentioned. Wild Horse and Big Kids. TTE as well. I don't know what TTE is. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments below. Cool. That's the tweets that I got in response to that. Anybody else on what we're talking about on the chat? Thunderbirds 2086 is an anime according to Google. Is it an official production or is it like a fan thing? No worries if it is a fan thing. Fan things can be very good. Joseph Adam wishes Sylvester McCoy would play Spotty on a rebooted Super Ted. Yeah, that would be good. That could be good. He also says, one more before I go to bed. Oh, where are you? What are you in the UK? Are you going to bed now in the UK, or is it much later where you are? I got all the episodes of Tom and Jerry and ITC series, The Adventures of Robin Hood. Nice. One of my favourites as a kid was Wurzel Gummidge. Yes, another John Pertwee one. Very good. Have you watched, Abigail, have you watched the newer ones with Mackenzie Crook in? I watched the one that was on, I think it was this winter, this just gone Christmas, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to go and look out for the rest of them now, because that was actually quite good. Jordan Howe used to watch an obscure CBBC puppet show that ran for 9 series, strangely called Bodger and Badger. Yes, Bodger and Badger. Bodger and Badger was good. Everyone loves mashed potato. Yes, I remember Bodger and Badger. That was great. I didn't realise that it ran for 9 years, though. That is a long time for a kids' TV show to air like that. I know we get things like Sooty that come around again and again and get rebooted a lot. But for one thing to last 9 years, that's quite a long time. Bodger and Badger. It was a man with a friend who was a badger puppet that loved mashed potato. And I think they worked in a school, didn't they? I think, maybe. I'm vaguely remembering that. Speaking of iconic themes that don't get talked about much, I forgot how amazing the Strange Hill High theme was. That show is such quality, I can't believe it only had 2 series, said Tuxified Art. I'm not familiar with it. I'll take your word on it that it has a brilliant theme tune. The Man from MI5 is the 17th episode of Thunderbirds and features the Dalek comics. Excellent. We'll make a note of that. The Man from MI5. Have to watch that now. Lewis Frisbee watched the rebooted Wurzel Gummidge. Did you like it? Did you like it? So many shows I'm remembering from these tweets. Hella late 2000s nostalgia. Late 2000s, early 90s as well. There's lots of stuff in here. Mid 90s, late 90s. It's all going on. We like it. Right. I promised a Count Duckula thing, didn't I? Let's get to the Count Duckula thing. This is me with a Count Duckula VHS. I think it's the same sort of, the same era as that other photo, because I'm wearing the same top from earlier. So it must have been the same Christmas. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this. I loved Count Duckula. I mentioned that before. I obviously got it on VHS for Christmas one year. Look at that dated wallpaper in the background. Never mind my jumper. Look at that wallpaper. That must have been dated even for 1990, which is roughly when I think this photo was taken. God, look at it. Yeah, loved Count Duckula. Little cute me with Count Dracula there. What's going on in the chat? Do you think kids shows are just as good now as they were when you were a kid? Here's the thing: everyone always thinks the thing they watched as kids was best because you have a nostalgia for it, and there's there's this, you can't help it. You loved the stuff you loved as kids, and when you watch stuff now, it's not aimed at you, so you're never going to build up that same connection with it. But trying to look at it objectively, I do think a lot of the kids shows now are better because so much of the stuff my daughter watches that is aimed at roughly her age has so much more complexity in the storytelling than it did when I was a kid, when I was her age. Some of the cartoons she watches have arcs, like season long story arcs, which I never got. Everything was very episodic when I was a kid. And, it was done, one and done. Everything was reset to the status quo for the beginning of the next episode. And that's great. That can be good. I'm not saying you can't get great stuff from that. You had things like Danger Mouse were good, not for other reasons. They had some great satire in there, some great acting in there. They were brilliant for their own reasons. But I really do love the way that children's television now, and obviously there are shows that do it, but children's television now doesn't always talk down to kids. And you see this in Russell T Davies's stuff as well. They respect the intelligence of kids and what they can cope with. There was probably a view back in the 90s. I mean, television generally in the 90s was very episodic, but there was probably a view that kids just wanted the same thing every week and the status quo to be reset. But actually, I think, character development, stuff like that is really good. And some of the cartoons that my daughter watches where you get that, I think is good. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think cartoons and stuff nowadays, if you've watched any of them, how do they compare to ones when you were a kid? And if you try and block out the nostalgia element of it, what do you think? Lewis Frisbee says, yes, Strange Hill High. That has an amazing tune, Phil. Go on YouTube and search it up. And yes, I did like the rebooted Wurzel Gummidge. Excellent. Was Count Duckula voiced by David Jason? I think it was. Yeah, I believe so. I think he did Danger Mouse and he did Count Duckula. The nanny character. Yes, Jordan is remembering the nanny character from Count Duckula. She always used to call Duckula Ducky Poo. Yep. Brilliant. Loved it. Okay, what's next? Okay, let's get to Power Rangers. Power Rangers Mighty Morphin, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As you can see, behind me, I have that side, the Power Ranger helmet, which I bought last year. There's an unboxing video on my channel if you would like to go find it and watch it. Because I was feeling nostalgic. And I have a Power Rangers Halloween costume, which I bought many years ago, which has a really flimsy plastic mask. And when I saw this was available, I was like, I'm just going to upgrade the mask from a Halloween costume that I haven't worn in 7 years. But, and I thought, I might do some Power Ranger videos and it might come in useful as a prop, which I'm now using it for. So, yeah, I eventually got there. Let me know in the chat if you want me to put it on. I'll briefly put it on if you want me to. It is wearable. So Lewis says, my Power Rangers was Power Rangers Samurai. So mine was Mighty Morphin. That was when I was 8, I think, when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers started, the very first Power Rangers. And I got really into it. I got the Zords, I got the toys, I got the action figures, I got the sort of role-play toys, which, the guns and the swords and things, the morphers, and really, really enjoyed Power Rangers for many years. And then I got to the age where I was still liking it, kind of. But I kind of felt too old for it because I was 8 when it started. But it, it's still going to this day. It literally has not stopped. Every year there has been a new series of Power Rangers. And what I liked about that first era, the original Saban era, was that the storyline continued from one series to the next. You had 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then even when it started changing its name every year, the characters carried over, and occasionally they would pass the torch, but that would be part of the plot of it, that they would pass their power on to a new set of Power Rangers. That would be part of the plot. Whereas past my era, past when I was watching it, they started almost rebooting it every single year with a brand new team with very little reference back to the old teams. So it didn't feel like it was a continuing story anymore, and that's when I did fall off. But even before that, I was probably in my early teenage years, around about, because we had the 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin, we had Power Rangers Zeo, then, what was after Zeo? Turbo, wasn't it? I think it was Turbo. And Power Ranger Turbo, I wavered with my like of it, because I started to think, oh, am I getting a bit old for this now? Because by then I was about 12, and was at secondary school, wasn't cool to be liking Power Rangers, and I didn't really like Turbo as much. It was a much more childish series than the previous series had been in terms of its tone. Then they did Power Rangers in Space, which was phenomenal, and I loved it. But as a, by then, sort of 13, 14-year-old, I was very much watching it in secret, and it almost slightly felt guilty about watching it and ashamed of watching it, which I now look back on and think that's really stupid. Nobody should ever be ashamed of what they like. But it was a really good series. But it also kind of ended by capping off that continuous run of storytelling, and it sort of, if you've ever watched Power Rangers in Space, the ending kind of wraps up all the loose plot threads from over the many years that had been going up to that point. And it kind of felt like, oh, okay, maybe I'll stop watching now. But the next series, I was kind of curious, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, and I was like, I'd just check it out. And also, my little sister, who is 10 years younger than me, was about 5 by that point, and I was like, oh, I could try and introduce her to it. That would be my excuse for watching it, because, hey, I'm just watching it. I'm just, sibling bonding. I'm just watching it with my younger sibling. And I managed to get her into it. So I watched most of Lost Galaxy and Lightspeed Rescue by watching it, because I'm watching it with her, but I was kind of half interested. But I still wasn't as invested in it as I had been when it was a continuing story, so I did kind of drift off. And somebody just referenced this in the chat, Joel, Dino Thunder. Joel said Dino Thunder was great, though, because it had direct references to the original seasons. Adult Tommy was even a team member in that season. Yes, and that's what brought me back. Because after Lightspeed Rescue, I think that was roughly when I moved to my... I was living at my mum's house before that, with my sister, who is my half-sister. And then I moved to my dad's house, and so I didn't have that kind of watching it with my sister thing anymore. So that's when I drifted away from it after Lightspeed Rescue. I think I watched a bit of Time Force here and there, but not very much. And then I came back to it with Dino Thunder, because at this point I was at uni. I had seen that Tommy Oliver, the original Green and White Ranger from the Mighty Morphin seasons, was back in it as the sort of mentor character, mentoring a new team of Rangers. And I was like, well, I've got to watch this, because the nostalgia was hitting. So I watched that, and that was great, and that was the last full season of Power Rangers I've watched. Since then, I've dipped in and out with the occasional episode. I watch the anniversary episodes when they come about, because again, usually it either has Tommy in it or some kind of nostalgia, something with nostalgia in it. I'll pop back in and see it. But I haven't watched a full season since then. But I also went to see the 2017 movie with my sister, because we both had fond nostalgic memories of Power Rangers. So that was good too, and I really enjoyed that movie. I thought that could have made a great series. It's a shame it didn't do well enough. But that's kind of my history of watching Power Rangers. I've still got all the toys up in my parents' loft somewhere. I will have to, I keep saying this, do a video on them at some point. But yeah, I mean, it's been going so long now. It's just got new owners, because it's gone through several owners. Saban was the original owners. Then they sold it to Disney. Then Disney didn't want it anymore, so sold it back to Saban, and that's when we have the Neo Saban era. Then last year, Saban sold it to Hasbro, so the toy company, so they now own it. and it's slightly unclear what they're going to do with it. I kind of, even though I don't watch it anymore, I vaguely follow what's going on with it because I'm interested, especially if they do more movie stuff. I'm interested in the movie stuff. They might reboot the movie stuff again. We don't know what they're going to do with TV. It's going to be interesting to find out. A few people were talking about Power Rangers in the thing. Joel, as he said, the era was Dino Thunder. Yeah, that was such a good season as well. It was really good. Great storytelling. You know, it didn't feel like some seasons of Power Rangers, because I've dipped, like I said, I've dipped in and out. Some seasons can feel more kiddie, and some can feel more like they're a bit more grown up. And obviously, as a grown up, I like the grown up feeling seasons. The Disney era of Power Rangers was so weird. One of the few shows to be unbought by Disney. Yeah, it was one of the early acquisitions by Disney when they started buying things up, before they bought Marvel, before they bought Lucasfilm and all that. They bought Power Rangers, and for a while you'd see in the Disney store Power Rangers section, but they didn't really do much with it. They kind of run it into the ground a little bit, from what I gather. And I don't think, from what I gather, from what I've read, that their seasons are the most liked seasons. But, yeah, but who knows? I mean, Jordan says something about the Disney era. My first introduction to Power Rangers was during the Disney era. The franchise called Power Ranger Ninja Storm. What did you think, Jordan? I mean, it was your introduction, so maybe because you didn't have the previous stuff to look back on, maybe it didn't feel as bad. I mean, like I say, it's just generally a general feeling that I get that this was the prevailing feeling that the Disney era isn't the best era. GSam 2021 says, all the kids stuff I see nowadays doesn't look great to me, but then again, I'm a very nostalgic person. Yeah, and you know, there's mixed stuff. I mean, I do see some kid. The thing is, there's so much stuff now, just not just kid stuff, but everything, that you're gonna get some absolute drivel in any category, and you're gonna get some amazing stuff in any category, and it sort of depends on what you find, because there's so much on all the streaming services, on all the CBBC, CITV. There's a mixture of stuff. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. Jordan Howe, I watched Power Rangers from Ninja Storm to Operation Overdrive. Cool. Remember VR Troopers, says Starfish Haddock. Yes, I do. When Power Rangers got big, Saban, the company behind it, that had struck on this sort of gold money making thing of taking the footage from these Japanese shows and just recording bits with American actors to fit in between the fight sequences that they were buying from these Japanese shows. They did it with several other ones as well. So you had VR Troopers, which had a very sort of virtual reality gimmick to it. You had Big Bad Beetleborgs was another one. And then the only one that was actually technically became set in the same universe as Power Rangers was Masked Rider, which was taken from the, what they called, I can't remember the exact, something Kamino Rider or something like that, from a series in Japan. And I watched all of them because I was a Power Ranger fan, so I watched the rest as well. And none of them did anywhere near as well as Power Rangers, because none of them are still on the air. Literally, they all lasted just like a couple of series each. I think VR Troopers was probably the best of those. Masked Rider was okay, but I found it really weird that even though, because Masked Rider had been set up in an episode of Power Rangers, they'd met the character, the Masked Rider, and then in his own series on another planet, and then in his own series he comes to Earth. I just found it really weird, even at the time, even as a kid, that, okay, Masked Rider's on Earth, Power Rangers is on Earth, they've got two different villains attacking them on Earth, but they're never, referencing each other. Very strange. Even as a kid, that annoyed me. Jill says, good to see you, Philip, mate. Always nice to see you in the Council of Geek streams. For always supportive. Oh, thanks. Tuxified Art, in my opinion, RPM was the best in the Disney era. Granted, my memories are mainly from before the age of 10, and we're always nostalgic for the things that we had when we were 10. I rewatched some Mighty Morphin, and there is a lot of cheese and rubbish in there, but it's still got a nostalgia. There's a lot of good stuff in there as well, but some of the episodes really are cheesy. And, nostalgia covers a lot of cracks, doesn't it? When did they buy Power Rangers? Because my first season was Samurai, and I don't think it was that bad. Maybe it was just because it was my first season, says Lewis. Yeah, I think Samurai was Disney era, but I'm not sure. Just Another Fan says Gravity Falls, Wizards of Waverly Place, iCarly, Phileas and Ferb, Johnny Test, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, Kim Possible, Power Rangers, Ninja Storm to Jungle Fury. A lot of good list. I've not watched many of those. Watched a bit of that Avatar: Last Airbender when I was at uni, because my housemate was into it. Jordan Howe, Power Rangers Dino Thunder was the only good Disney era Power Ranger series. I have to take your word on that. I was thinking of doing some Power Ranger content. I was thinking about going and trying to watch them eat all. Starting from the beginning, like rewatching Mighty Morphin. And then they took them off Netflix, so that idea got scrapped. What kids show did you like the least? Is there one you hated? That's a good question. GSM, GSAM 2021. Was there any I hated? I don't know, because that's a good question. Probably just didn't watch it again if I didn't like it, and then I probably forgot about it. I don't think there was anything that I watched or anything. I don't know. Is there anything you didn't like? What did you guys not like? Just kidding on CBBC. Oh, you've answered that next time. Just kidding on CBBC was the stupidest thing. Not heard of it. But I'm really trying to think. Was there anything I really hated as a kid? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Probably if I saw something I didn't like, I just didn't watch it again. Did you watch anything on the cable and satellite channels? Not until I was a teenager, because we didn't have any cable or satellite until I was maybe about 13 or 14. So when we did get them, I watched a bit on Cartoon Network, but not much. I don't know if we had the Disney Channel. I think you might have had to pay separately for that. But I think I remember watching some of it. I remember watching the original Star Wars Clone Wars on Cartoon Network, the 2D animated one. That was quite good. Wiped out of canon now, I believe, by the later one, but it was good. Tuxified Art Samurai was the first in the Neo Saban era. I remember it suddenly went from Disney Channel to Channel 5's Kids Block. Ryan Talbot, anybody remember The Visionaries? No, what was The Visionaries? Oh my word, look at the time. I've gone over an hour. By a quarter of an hour. I'm going to have to wrap up soon. Was there anything else I was going to talk about? I was going to talk about Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane Smith. The Sarah Jane Adventures. The Adventures of Sarah Jane. I can't remember what the show was called now. What was it called? Yeah, I watched this. I was an adult when I watched this. I was not a kid. It's a kid's show, obviously. But I was a Doctor Who fan, and this was a spin-off, and I was going to watch it. So, I mean, some of you in the chat might have watched this when you were kids. And somebody already said that their first introduction to, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said their first introduction to Doctor Who was through this show. It was a great show. Russell T Davies is a great writer in pretty much anything he turns his hand to. And it's great that he can do kid stuff. And it's what I like about Russell T Davies' stuff, and it applied with Wizards and Aliens as well, is he can do kid stuff where he's not talking down to the kids. So it worked, and that's what made it work for adults as well, because I tried to watch, for instance, the K9 series, the Australian K9 series, which was not made by the BBC, was made by an Australian company, because the BBC don't own the rights to K9, they own the image of K9, the look of him, but the character is owned by the person that originally wrote him in his first episode, and so he was able to sell those rights for an Australian series. And I think the BBC must have agreed to it because the original K9 design is in the first episode, so they would have given the permission, probably for a fee, to use that design in the first episode, and then they change the design, and he gets a new look. But I watched the first episode of that, and I could not stand it, and I could not bring myself to watch anymore because it was just so bad. And like it was the worst. There you go. That's a TV show, kids. It wasn't when I was a kid, but that's a kids' TV show that I can't stand. I might retry and watch it at some point, if I can bring myself to it. But Sarah Jane didn't have that problem. It wasn't talking like K9 really like felt like it was talking down to kids as well. Whereas Sarah Jane, talked up to them. It treated them with respect, sort of made them, spoke to them as if, didn't treat them like they were stupid, and could follow relatively complex story arcs, character arcs, complex emotions and things like that. So that was fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. I recently, well, I say recently, a while ago now, got the box set, so I'm going to revisit it at some point because I haven't watched it since it was on TV. So I'm going to revisit that at some point as well. Thoughts? Lewis Frisbee, The Sarah Jane Adventures was the first show he watched on CBBC. Yeah, cool. Lewis also asked, did you watch the channel called Milkshake? I remember watching it in like 2008. Milkshake started, I think, as a strand on Channel 5. It was the Channel 5 version of CBBC and CITV. It was just like a 2-hour strand. And that was around when my sister was a kid. It wasn't around when I was little. So I think she used to watch it, and now it's a channel. Tuxified Art says, random side note, Netflix is really going downhill with the boom of more specific streaming services. Netflix doesn't have many big hitters anymore besides its originals. No, but their originals are quite good. Some of them are. I mean, I don't know if they've still got the reputation for the prestige stuff that they had when they first started, like Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, which has which died because of its own complicated reasons. But I think they do a more mixed bag of stuff now. Some of it's good, still good quality. I mean, they make The Crown, which is really good, and a few other things. But I like. There's enough on there that there's more on there that I think, oh, I'd like to watch that than I have time to watch, which is what keeps me subscribed to it, because I haven't yet run out of things that I would want to watch on it. Jordan Howe, did you remember watching Star Wars Droids or Ewoks as a kid? No, I don't know. When did they come out? Let's look that up. I can't remember if that's just because they weren't on anywhere. Let's see, Star Wars Droids cartoon. Let's have a look. When did it? So 1985 to 1986. No. So I wouldn't have watched that at the time because I would have been a baby. Is Ewoks around the same time? I spell Ewoks. I'm just looking that one up. Ewoks. Star Wars Ewoks. Is that a cartoon? Ewoks TV series. There we go. Yeah, again, 1985. Yeah. So that was either like around about when I was born. So no, I did not see those, and I have not yet looked at them on Disney Plus. I know they've got quite a bad reputation. Or maybe I'll look at them on Disney Plus at some point. But I'm still catching up on all the current cartoons. I'm watching Bad Batch at the moment. That's quite good. I mean, it's nothing. So far, it isn't anything that I would say is amazing, but it's okay. I watched the first couple of 2 or 3 seasons of Star Wars Rebels when it was coming out, but then I missed after that. Kind of fell off of watching that, but that was really good. And I've seen the first season of Clone Wars, but I still need to catch up on the rest. So I'm still catching up on all the modern day in canon stuff. But at some point, I might go back and watch Droids and Ewoks, because why not? Look, I have been going for an hour and 20 minutes and my voice is starting to go, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for watching this live stream on Kids TV. I think it's been quite good. If you've got any suggestions of things we can talk about next month, because I'm going to be doing these live streams first Thursday of every month. Do let me know in the comments or via tweets or something, suggestions for topics. Tuxified Art said, since it's Pride Month, what's your opinion on the state of LGBT representation in kids' media? It's becoming more common, which IMO is good for education, but it can also feel forced at times. I haven't seen anything where it feels like it shouldn't be there. There's been some good stuff in one program that I've really enjoyed watching, actually, has been She-Ra, the new She-Ra. We talked about He-Man earlier. She-Ra was a spin-off from He-Man in the 80s, but there's this new She-Ra version that's been on Netflix that has been really good, and that's got some good LGBT plus representation in it. So that's been great. So yeah, generally from what I've been seeing from the stuff my daughter has been watching, I think it's been good. I haven't seen anything that feels out of place. I think there's some shows doing some good work in that regards. Tom Mason, hi Phil, love the stream. Thanks for the interview. Yes, Tom. Tom interviewed me on his channel, so if you want to see me get interviewed about a variety of pop culture things, go check out that. I'm sure maybe you can click on his name to get through to his channel or something. I'm not sure. But Tom, I'm about to shut the stream down in a second, but if you want to quickly, you put a link or something in the chat if people want to see you interviewing me about. Well, there's one video about my Doctor Who, my views on Doctor Who, and one about other pop culture things. So that as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to go now because my voice is starting to go, and and I've run out of things to say. So hope you enjoyed the stream. Do let me know if you got any ideas for what we can talk about in future streams. I'm kind of coming up with them on the fly at the moment, but I've got a whole month to think of them. So let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Hit like if you haven't already, because that really helps me out. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, because then you can have more streams and more Doctor Who.